Hi folks, welcome to the channel, Mantalk here. Today we're going to be doing a flight in the Cessna 172 by A2A Simulations, and we're going to be doing it this time showcasing the Garmin GTN 750 Avionics Suite by Flight1, which has been implemented into the Cessna 172 in a recent A2A patch. So far, the only A2A aircraft that's ever had the Garmin unit implemented into the 3D cockpit, that was really difficult for me to say, but anyway, is the Cessna 182. Now they've just done a new update where they've actually put the Garmin suite into the 172 as well as the Cherokee. And today you can see I'm flying the Pilot Flyschule. I think it's Pilot Flyschule. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, the pilot flying school up in Norway, based in Torp Sandefjord. Sandefjord, I think. Me and my Norwegian pronunciations. But anyway, this is Torp. This ENTO, that's the code. And we are here, and the flight school is here. And if you remember, when I was on holiday, a few scenes of the second 737 full cockpit simulator video. A few of the scenes that are at the end of that video were shot from right up in this section of windows right here. That is kind of the briefing room of the school, and they have a great view out across the airport here and of the runway. Unfortunately, even despite the fact that I'm in prepared 3D, it's a little laggy. I'm sorry about that, folks. The weather is not very good, there's lots of clouds to render in, and for some reason Torp has always just been a little bit laggy for me, this particular scenery. So I'm sorry, my computer isn't like a beast, it's not like a Bellens beast computer, I wish it was. I might actually save up to buy myself a beast of a computer, maybe by next year or something. But anyway, enough of that. Let us jump in and get started, since this probably might be a long video. I'm probably going to cut out as much of the cruise section as I can, because that's a bit boring. But we're going to basically do an entire full flight. We're going to do right from cold and dark to shutdown in Bergen. Yes, Bergen is where we're going to fly today. Actually, when I was in Norway with Eric Lund, we were actually going to fly IFR from Torp to Bergen, but the weather was too bad because of icing, so we actually had that cancelled. But today this is in the sim. Nothing's going to go wrong, and look at that beautiful window. That's just an A2A. Whoa! Just broke it there. But that's an A2A, beautiful A2A. And as the water? No, the water is not actually speckling on the windscreen. The windscreen is just dirty. Anyway, let us jump in without further ado. Okay, today we are flying Lima November Foxtrot Tango Echo. Unfortunately, there's no VATSIM ATC in Norway right now, so that's not really going to be the focus of this video. This is going to be a totally offline flight. So, from a cold and dark situation, we're going to start straight in with the startup. I'm actually going to be using, this is Shift 2. I'm going to be using these notes here today, folks, to do all of my checklists, as opposed to the separate load of checklists that comes with the A2A Cessna 172 manual. Usually I would have that on a touchscreen tablet on my knees, but today I want to use this. I'm just going to see the usability of this. So, without much further ado, let's get stuck in. Upon entering the cabin, airplane weight and balance checked. Let's go Shift 4. Yep, okay. I'm going to bring a passenger. Actually, I'm going to bring 3 passengers. And I'm going to, let's see, I should have enough fuel, but I'm going to refill the fuel tanks anyway, just to be on the good side. Okay, total weight is not good. Okay, let's take the passenger in the back out. Let's see how much luggage we can take before it's a problem. Let's just take 35 kilograms of luggage, that should be fine. Oil looks okay, but we'll get to that whenever we get to the pre-flight. Parking brake set. Parking brake is set. Control wheel lock removed. I just removed it right now. Ignition and avionics off. They are off. Okay. Master switch on. Oh. Do them both. Check fuel quantity. Yep. Both tanks are full. Static pressure outsource valve off. Pull to be on. Okay, hang on. Let's just put him up. Oh no, actually. Okay, so pull to be on, and they've asked for it to be off. Okay. So, sorry about that. Okay, annunciator panel switch test. All lights flash there, that's fine. Fuel selector valve, both. Like so. Fuel shutoff valve, on. Push full in. Okay. Flaps extend. Master switch off, whenever the flaps are fully extended. Okay. Now we'll do our master switch off. Okay. Elevator trim set for takeoff. And it is set for takeoff. Okay. So, page 2. Page 2 is engine starting. We won't go to engine starting yet. We will actually close that now and we'll do our pre-flight. Okay, let's open the door. Okay, pitot tube cover, remove. Let's just bring this tab up. It has been removed. Which one was that? Wheel time. No, it's not. That was it. I just removed it now. Pilot's operating handbook is in the plane, as you can see. Weight and balance. We did do that check. That's F4. We did that check. Parking brake has been set. Control wheel lock has been removed. Ignition switch is off. Avionics master is off. Battery master switch on. I think I should have done this bit first, but anyway. Pitot heat on. On. Fuel quantity, check. We have checked that. Avionics master switch on. Static pressure outsource valve off. That is what we did there. Static air. Alt static air. Annunciator panel test switch check. So that's good. Check that all lights illuminate. Yep. Annunciator panel test switch release. Right. Check that appropriate lights remain on. They have those ones there. Fuel selector valve is on both. That's correct. Fuel shutter valve in. Flaps extend. Pitot heat off. Avionics master switch off. Battery master switch off. Elevator trim set for takeoff. Okay. Next checklist. Oh no. Okay. Unfortunately, okay, actually, I'm just going to check. Yep, okay, so for the record, folks, the pitot heat works because that is red. Okay, I'll come back to that. I'm just going to go the other way. I'm going to do the checklist in reverse because the EasyDock camera messes up if you do it to the right instead of the left. Right. Okay, those all look good. Let's just wiggle the flap there. Does wiggle a little bit, but you know, what are you going to do? There we go. Those look fine. Okay, let's just remove that tie down. Let's check that that's okay, and check that that's okay. And check that the leading edge looks okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Main wheel tire, that looks fine. Sump the left hand under the wing. That's all good. Check the fuel on the top left wing, which is fine. We filled that full. Check that that static open source has not been blocked, because if that is blocked, bad things happen. Right, let's check in the engine cowling there. Let's click that a couple times, make sure there's no debris. Also check that the propeller has no dents and stuff like that. Okay, now we're going to drain underneath the engine here. That's fine. Let's check the oil. Oil is a little bit off 8 quarts, but that's perfectly fine as well. We won't touch that yet. Again, fuel on the right-hand tank is fine. Let's just sump that one there. That's fine. Yep, it all looks good. Let's go back. Let's take this tie down off and check this leading edge. All looks fine. Let's check these connections. They look fine. Let's give this one a wiggle. And again, this does move a little bit. Well, a significant bit, I suppose you could say. But that's still within reason. Okay, remove the rear tail wheel tie down. Check these connections. They all look fine. Check these connections here. You will be able to see, folks, by the way, when there is a significant break. And if you're flying through this too quickly, just make sure that key is locked. And there we go. It's cold now because we turned it off and it's cooled down, but and just check that that's fine. Okay, but that's why I did the pitot heat test first, because I knew that by the time I got all the way around the pre-flight, it would be cold. Okay, so that's that. Now we can go back to, upon entering the cabin, engine start. Okay, let's do the engine start. Okay, throttle cracked. Let's just get my throttle here. Let's just crack that. Mixture, idle. Mixture is on idle. Master switch on. Rotating beacon is this one. Let's just zoom in slightly. Okay, rotating beacon on. Note, skip to step 9 if for a warm engine. This is not a warm engine, so we won't skip to step 9. Auxiliary fuel pump switch on. Mixture rich until stable fuel flow for 3 to 5 seconds, then set to idle cutoff. Okay, so we're going to pull the fuel pump on. 1, 2, 3. There. Okay, so that primed the engine. We just pumped in the mixture there, and then while we put the fuel pump on. Auxiliary fuel pump off. Okay, propeller area is clear. Okay, let's just check. Yeah, propeller area is clear. There's no one else in the world except us. Okay, ignition switch start, mixture advance, and then check the oil pressure. Okay, moment of truth. And then advance the mixture to the full position. 1000 RPM. Check that the oil pressure is coming into the green. It is. Whoa, whoa, don't let my RPM drop below 1000. Okay, let's just check. 7 Celsius outside. Let's pop in my comms. Okay, so the oil seems to be fine. My T's and P's are good. Navigation lights on as required. We want the taxi light, nav. We won't put the strobe on until we get to the threshold. Let's just put some heat into the cockpit here so that we don't fog up the windows. Okay, next, before takeoff. Okay, we'll do the before takeoff checklist when we get to it, but at the moment I'm going to flick on the avionics. Why did it not tell me to flick on the avionics in the engine start? Avionics on, I missed that bit. Radios on, flaps retract. Yeah, sorry, I missed that bit. Retract those. Okay, so that checklist is done. The before takeoff checklist is next. Okay, so we're here at the flight planning stage of the flight. To begin with, we're going to bring in the ENTO departure, and that is the Baki to hotel departure to Bakiv. We're going to hit load departure. Now that's taken us to Bakiv. Our next airway is going to be Zulu 129, and we're going to end at Sorox. And that is going to put us, if we zoom out, that's going to put us in the direction of Bergen. If we hit that load there, and then if we go back to procedure and arrival, we're going to arrive in ENBR, and it's going to be the Sorrow 2 Papa. There we go. We can hit load arrival, and boom. If we go back to the map, we should be set with a nice short, quick GPS flight. So the star begins at Sorox, comes down into ENBR. If I go back to myself, and then my SID starts from Ento and ends at Bakiv. So it's not too long and it's not too short. It's just about right. I did try and load a PFPX flight plan, but I think if I have a look at, I think something's gone wrong with PFPX, and the waypoints are old waypoints that no longer don't exist in the Garmin Suite, or else the Garmin Suite is old and PFPX is correct. I don't know which one's correct. I'm not going to worry about it now because I've got a workable plan, and yeah. So that's that. Anything else I need to do at the moment? Let's hit utilities. I'll use vcalc when I'm at top of descent, but apart from that, nothing at the moment. Let's just see nav. That needs to be on GPS. Okay, so so we've done the engine start. The before takeoff, we will do in a moment. Yeah. Okay. So the reason there's a split in the video is something went wrong with the aircraft when I was taking off. So here I am trying to reshoot. Such a love-hate relationship with FSX sometimes in P3D. My joystick is only partially working, so I can't show you too many views at the moment, but it is what it is. Whoop. You can hear the engine jumping slightly. Okay, before takeoff checklist. Seat belts and belts and doors checked are secure. Flight controls free and correct. We did check that. I checked that actually because that was what went wrong when I took off, my flight controls. Fuel quantity checked. Yep, mixture is rich. Fuel selector valve is on both. Let's just recheck that. Yep, it's on both. We'll do a mag check before we pull onto the runway. So roughly 1800. Check the left. Not much of a drop. Check the right. Within 100 RPM. So throttle idle, then set to 1000 RPM. Radios and lights set. Radios and lights have been set. My lights, my radios have been set. Well, I'm not flying online, so I don't need to. Elevator trim set for takeoff, and it's set roughly on takeoff. Wing flaps 10 degrees. Takeoff checklist. Wing flaps have been set 10 degrees. Mixture is rich, and lean the mixture when needed. Okay, nose wheel lift at 55 and climb out 70 to 80. Flaps up. Okay. Let's just check that. Yeah. Just turn down the volume. Okay, so let me just turn on my autopilot. Autopilot coming on. Heading. Let's just select heading. And then select nav. And then let's just make sure our vertical speed, let's set it to 700 and then arm made a mistake there, bring that back up to about 800 and then that's armed. Cool. So we're already above the clouds, lost sight, almost lost sight of the ground. That's fine, we don't mind. We're working off our GPS now. So that's tracking the SID nicely now on our outbound leg from where. So if we look at our, sorry about that, information. So Bakiv 2 Hotel, climb on a course 358 degrees to TO 903, then left to Baki. TO 903, that is where we're inbound, and then we'll take our left-hand turn to Baki. Oop. And yes, the frames per second are not very good, and that's because there's so much cloud around. Massive amount of cloud. Everything is it's pretty difficult. Let's just have a look at what's flashing. Turn to 29296. Let's just reset my heading bug and hit D on the keyboard just to make sure that it's reset the gyroscopic compass to reset my heading card to the actual magnetic heading, because sometimes after flying for a while that will drift. Okay, I've set my wind speed and direction up in the top left hand corner of the Garmin GTN 750, which is very, very helpful. Actually, you know what? We've got enough time. Let's make that climb to 10,000. Let's make that 10,000, not 8,000. Okay, I think it looks like we're experiencing a bit of turbulence. Let's just go out to an outside view here. Yeah. Welcome to IFR in a Cessna 172 over Norway. I don't know technically if I would be allowed to do this in real life. I suppose so. I suppose so. The only thing I think that is the main concern is icing at this point. At this kind of... Right, let's start leaning out, because we can see our... Let's just make sure. I'll just keep this popped up. Okay. Let's just select this on my computer. Okay, let's just have a look at our... Let's bring down our throttle to 75% power and then lean. Oh, we just broke the 4,000 before Bakiv rule. But that's just a standard SID rule. We can just pretend that ATC cleared us an unrestricted climb. So there is that. There is the GTN 750 working in the Cessna 172. Climbing through 4,500 feet. I keep clicking on the wrong thing on the... So now that we're here, you can see how far we've got to go. Oh, let's just amend our rate of ascent to 500, because you can see our speed slowing there. So while we're here, let's just have a fun with the GTN. Let's have a look at the trip planning. Okay, so from TO 903 to ENBR, point to point would take, departure time is 13:30. I don't think it's the right time. Departure was 15:30, let's just say. Calculate 4th of May. Ground speed 120. Distance 165 nautical miles. Direct track 2 would be 292. The best, that looks like that's actually giving us the best altitude to fly at. So let's actually set that to 8,700. There we go. ETA is at 16:52. Okay. So it's about an hour and 20 minutes. If we're looking at a 50, if we pretend, don't look at my taskbar. If we pretend that it's 15:38 now, it's almost 15:40. So that's okay. That's about an hour and 10, an hour and 20 minutes. So that's not too bad. So that's that. The fuel planning I haven't used much yet, but the one thing I can tell you I have used a lot whenever I fly with this suite is the VCalc. And this is amazing because if I say the target altitude, let's just say target altitude should be 3,000 at the beginning of the Bergen ILS. So let's just say 1 nautical mile before waypoint, let's see, BR 994. Let's just go back and have a look at what waypoint we want to be 3,000 feet at before we make that decision. Okay, so it's Okito. I'd say it's probably Okito that we want to be. Rupex. Let's say it's Okito that we want to be 3,000 feet. Or actually, let's just make it 2,000. Because I'm thinking that looks quite close to Bergen itself, and we don't want to be too high, too close. So let's say 2,000 feet. And we want that to be Okito. So boom, what that does is that says if we're going to descend at a constant vertical profile of 600 feet per minute, we to get to 2,000 feet at 1 nautical mile before Okito, it means that we have to start descending at 600 feet per minute rate in 45 minutes. And that's perfect. I love the way this works. As I think I've probably told you about this before, but it's great. Let me just check let's just recheck my mixture. My EGT is getting low there. So let's just bring that down. Okay, that's getting better. And so that descent calculation is a bit spammy right now. As you can see, it's kind of going all over the place. But that will settle down once we get into the cruise, because then that will properly calculate and tell us when our top of descent should be. So it's roughly saying about 50 minutes at the moment. So I'm not too worried. If I go back to my map here, if we go set course on HSI to 295, Okay. Did I not set that to 295? That's 296. There we go. Okay, folks. So we're about to get to the top of our almost another 1,000 feet. We'll be at the top of our cruise, which is kind of funny because we haven't even reached the end of our SID yet. But you know, no. Did I punch in? Yeah, I punched in 8,700. Let's just go and have a look outside again. Okay, so the frame rates have climbed now that we've gotten out of the messy stuff there. So that's good to know, that my frame rates have now returned to the land of the living. And let's just take an opportunity to look at the... Actually, let's do that in cruise. I'll do that in cruise. Take a look at the livery now. Beautiful pilot, Norwegian pilot Flyskole. Flyskole? I think it's Flyskole or Fly School. Fly Schooler? I don't know. I'm going to have to ask Eric if my pronunciation of that was correct. I'm pretty sure it was though. Lovely, lovely, lovely aircraft. And those nice P3D shadows. It is an ideal IFR day today. You cannot see the ground at all. Completely not there at all. Uh-oh. You see my speed was getting dangerously low. Dangerously low. And that is exactly what I always talk about whenever I do if I use this autopilot in the 172, is when you set it to a certain vertical speed hold, it will hold that vertical speed. But if you run into turbulence and it slows you down, it's going to hold that vertical speed, it's going to pitch the nose up. And in doing so, it just accelerates the process of stalling. So that's always something that you want to look after and make sure that doesn't happen. Just drinking some tea because I've got a very dry throat. But look at that, I cannot even see the ground at all. That's pretty dire, that weather. But just goes to show that in the 172 with the Garmin GTN 750 by Flight1, you can have a lot of fun. You can go where you wouldn't normally think you could go in this kind of weather. Okay, let's just have a look. What is my... Okay, 300 feet. We can make 500 feet per minute now with this speed. Let's get up to 8,700. We've got about 400 feet left in the climb, and as soon as we hit the climb, I will leave you and I'll come back to you in the top of descent. So at the moment everything seems okay. It was a bit difficult on takeoff and departure because something weird happened with my controls and I had to basically restart the entire sim and re-log this leg here. But it's finished, and now we're at the top of descent, and let's hope that our approach into Bergen fares better. But that was nothing wrong with the Garmin GTN 750. That was a control. That was my joystick playing up and not working out correctly. So hang on, altitude. Oh no, not 500 feet per minute, you stupid thing. Okay, altitude. Okay, another thing we should have done is change to standard barometric pressure. So in doing so, that's going to change our altitude. Let's just change to 1013. That means that we have to descend slightly. Whoa, what's that porpoising going on there? Is that turbulence or something? What is going on? I just want negative 400 feet per minute, thank you. And then I'll arm. No, what is going on? Altitude. I want okay, right, I'm gonna have to manually sit on this, make sure this doesn't do anything stupid. Okay, hold negative 500 until I come down to 8,700. Just because that was what my trip planner told me I should be at. Yeah, there's a bit of turbulence going on there. That was that flutter in the vertical speed sometimes shows that there's turbulence. Okay. Phew. Okay, so right, now let's just lean out and then I'll cut the video. Okay, descend. Altitude. Let's put 2,000. There we go. So now on this setting we should be able to get all the way back down, all the way down to 2,000 feet before the localizer. While we're here, the localizer frequency is 110.5, which is in standby nav 1, and I will flick that as soon as we get close enough, and then we will flick over from GPS to VLOC, which is our nav source instead of GPS source, and then we can follow that localizer on the nav source as opposed to the GPS, since I don't know, the GPS actually might follow it itself. Actually, yes, that's a good point. Let's try and follow the glide slope and localizer using GPS navigation mode as opposed to the normal nav mode, because we've done the nav mode before. We're here to train, and we're here to see what the 750 can do for us. So I will meet you back when we get closer to the localizer. Okay folks, one thing that has cropped up is the wind. As you can see, the wind, we actually don't want a tailwind in, so we're going to have to swap runways quite quickly. So what I'm going to do is go to the procedure page, go arrivals, and instead of the Papa Sorrow, I want to go Sorrow November, and click load arrival. Go back. And that means what I want to do, or what's happening right now, flight plan F30, okay, VOO. I want to go direct. Activate. Okay, I think I just screwed that up pretty bad. Let's go back to my procedure. Runway 17. Okay. What waypoints have we got? Latsi. Okay, actually I want to go direct to Latsi. Not this one. Let's go direct to that one there. Activate. There we go. That's put it in properly. So that was just a really quick star change at the last moment because we realized that the wind had changed and we didn't want to take the southerly runway. We want to approach from the north where the wind is actually correct. So we're gonna go direct to Latsi, Balco, and then the zoom is the other way around. And then we're gonna come in on the opposite runway and engage the localizer from the other side. So let's go back, and now what we can do, let me just recheck the ILS frequency is the same as 1099, not 1109, not 1105. It is, to confirm, 1099, so let's just put that in now, 10990, enter. So that's in standby for when we need it, but currently we want to make sure though that we don't smash into anything. So let's actually not go to 2,000 feet. Let's stick to 3,000 feet because it looks like we want to get over these mountains here. And our temperature has increased to a balmy 6 degrees Celsius. And we've got some rain. But yeah, so the airport, if we have a look on the map, is off in this direction. Oh, by the way, we want to reset our altimeter to our local QNH of 1000. Let's just check what that is. Yep, 1000 millibars. And we've now hit 3,000 feet, which is good. Let's just increase our speed. Increase our mixture slightly so that we've got the correct mixture. That's a little bit too much. There we go. Okay. Right. Let me just retune the DME, or the NDB, sorry, of 360, because we're coming in the other side now. That will change. There we go. Airport's over there. Alright folks, so what you saw there was just a nice quick star change. And in real life, I know that some airlines, you actually don't put the star in until the last moment whenever it's assigned to you by ATC, so yeah, it's pretty cool. So ground speed of 130, which is nice. We're close to breaking our speed limit here, so we could throttle back. Oh, a little bit of turbulence. I do want to make up for lost time though, because it's going to take us a little bit more time getting around here. So I'm going to throttle back ever so slightly, and our temperature, our EGT gauge, I have never seen the EGT gauge that high before. I'm going to put in some more mixture to bring that down. I want to dampen that mixture to bring down that temperature, because that's higher than I've ever seen it. Okay, so what we want to do now is have a look what the true runway heading of Bergen is, and that is localized as 172. So let's just put our heading indicator to 172. And if you can hear my housemate laugh, singing, apologies. And that's pretty close to the top of that mountain. There's Bergen. Yeah, that mountain ahead, I might like to be a bit higher. Let's just whack in another 1,000 feet here. Okay, let's climb up to 4,000 feet. So I had set myself up nicely for the southerly star into Bergen, and I was ready to flatten out at 2,000 feet. But of course, now that we've changed, because the wind changed and we've changed our star, we're gonna have to readjust and climb again, which isn't ideal, but it's just one of those things, I guess. In real aviation terms, when something changes, you have to be ready to adapt. And those trees do look nice. That's the Orbex HD tree package. They are very nice. They do kind of break up the scenery a bit better than the default ones do. I think the default trees didn't have quite enough variation, so they just got quite boring over time. But you can see they're speckled different types of trees appropriately at the right places. Okay, so 500 feet to go. Let's just look at our exterior view. So Bergen off in the distance. Beautiful scenery. You can see just how useful the Garmin Suite is, the Garmin GTN 750. It really does provide you with so much user. It provides you with so much power to do exactly what you want when you want to do it. And it takes a lot of information. It takes a lot of information, and it makes it very simple and intuitive for you. It's all touchscreen. So definitely, if you want to do anything serious in the 172, whether it be IMC or IFR, definitely consider something like this. And are we flattening out? Thank you, yes. My autopilot is now working. We've now just flattened out at 4,000 feet, so I'm going to bring back the throttle ever so much. And you can see the NDB is tracking nicely. Let's just bring that panel up again. I believe that's the NDB that it's tracking right there. But you can see the GPS track. Once I get to roughly here, I'm going to actually, yes, as I said before, I'm going to follow the GPS track I'm not exactly sure why there's an offset there on the GPS track. Actually, no, that's not the GPS track. That is some other random thing. Let's just zoom out and see what we're looking at here. Okay. See, so you've got this Victor Oscar Oscar VOR just there. But as we come in to Intel, once we hit Intel, it looks like it actually stops, and the dotted line is the localizer. So it looks like we might have to swap over to the localizer and fly an RNAV approach here. But that's going to be fun. We'll see what that looks like. Okay, we're getting close now to our turn, and you can see we're getting a bit of turbulence coming over these steep hills here. There's probably a lot of updrafts and downdrafts that's pushing and pulling the aircraft this way and that. Yeah, you see those. There we go. But there's some nice Norwegian fjords there. Okay, so from this point on it looks like we can now go down to 3,000 feet. So let's pop that down. Okay, despite the turbulence, it's going to try and hold negative 500 feet per minute descent rate. At least I hope it would. There we go. Coming up for the next turn soon. Remembering that nav1 standby is our ILS. Beautiful trees. Here's the turn. Those are beautiful trees. I see. Yeah. So you can see the star from Sorox. I was going direct to Latsi, and as I was coming up north, now I've just turned on. It actually has popped the last part of the star in. That I didn't actually fly this bit. I flew from Sorox south and then turned north and came and intersected this section. But it has these now in there. Now that I'm on the star, it shows me all of the points of the star. Okay, so now things are going to start to happen a little quicker. Now that we're down below the cloud base, we can see what's going on. There's a nice bridge over there. Ooh, that's some nice bridges. Norway is very well known for its bridges, of course. So 7 knot tailwind. So it was definitely the right decision to make that last minute star change to bring us round onto the other facing runway. Just soaking in this terrain here, these clouds. But right, let's just put in 50% power. Looks like we'll hold at 3,000 feet. I think 3,000 feet is good. We're not going to reset our HSI or heading needle because we've got that set to our localizer, which is good. Well, it's pretty dark down here. One thing I should have remembered I didn't have on was my strobe. I always manage to forget something. When I make these videos, I always manage to forget something. What is that down there? I have no idea. It's not just me seeing things. There is like it's like a massive, giant-sized tic-tac-toe box. Okay, so now that we're down, let's go down to our descent. Power is now as desired. Well, we've already done our descent, but mixture adjust for smooth operation. Fuel selector valve, it is on both, and wing flaps as desired. Landing speed 65 to 75 with flaps up. Wing flaps as desired, 10 degrees below 110 knots, 10 to 30 below 85 knots. So if we're going to want to do a 65 to 75 knot landing, we're going to that's with 30 degrees flaps, and I'm going to try and do a 30 degree flaps. So we're going to have to bring that speed down. Airspeed 60-70 for flaps down. Touchdown main wheels first. Landing roll. Gently lower nose. Braking minimum required. So that's what we've got to play with. Now as we come round, remember we've got until the end of intel, and then we'll do the RNAV approach from there. I'm just looking out for the airport now. The airport is right over there. So here we are, finally. Those trees. Little bit of turbulence. That's okay. This is Bergen after all. We should expect some turbulence. Okay, so I'm going to pull the throttle down ever so slightly and start slowing us down to about 90 to 80 to 90 knots, so that we can begin thinking about first and second and third stages of flaps. And you can see that the autopilot is slightly raising the nose, pitch up 2 degrees to maintain our vertical speed at 0, and you can see the speed will start bleeding off. Whoa, be careful now, because the turbulence messes up with our vertical speed, and then that in turn messes up with our pitch, which in turn messes up with our speed, which is the great curse of the 172 autopilot system. Okay, so we're going to do that final turn soon, and what I might do actually at this point, I'm going to set hello 172, yep. I'm going to set 172. And there we go. So we've now just set our nav source to nav, and it's going to follow our localizer. It's now going to attach itself to the localizer. That's the idea anyway. So our GPS is still useful. It's very good for situational awareness, so that we can put ourselves on that line. So it's just finding the localizer. I'm not too worried about it pitching left and right at the moment. It can do that. What I'm interested now in, I'm going to put my mixture rich, full rich, and I'm interested in stabilizing the aircraft now. You see how it's, we've got a headwind of 8 knots directly on our 45 degrees, so it has to factor that in as well. I'm getting slower now. I really shouldn't be kind of wobbling all over the place, but that's the autopilot for you. I'm waiting for my flaps. I'm pitching up 3 degrees. Okay, first stage of flaps. And that almost sent it into a stall, the stupid thing. That was going to increase into a stall. Let me just trim for the poor dear. I'm going to arm the approach button. And it's going to hit the glide slope. Let's just put my landing light on. Flap stage 2. So, and there we go. It's... Come on now, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. No. No. I'm nice to you. I treat you nicely. I do pre-flights with you. And then you show me up in front of my viewers. Don't do this to me now. Okay. Pitching 3 degrees down. That's not very good. Let's slow our speed now. Let's stabilize this baby. It does have that wind to contend with. That's better. No. Okay, flaps are fully down. And you pull out that autopilot, you wretched autopilot, you wretched turbulence. There we go. You just have to stop it from increasing the problem. And the problem being, okay, I'm going to fly the rest of this stupid thing. Okay, if you look at my nav1 indicator, it's not looking too bad. Let's just trim. Right. Right, approach. Approach is armed. Right. Now, there's the runway. Here is you. Plant yourself on the runway, please. I'm not doing this video to fly this manually. Ah, look, it's going to screw itself up. It's properly going to... Okay, whatever. It'll properly screw itself up. Let me get you stabilized first, then. We need to slow down, that's our problem. We need to slow down to about... Well, actually, that's about good. And we need to be a bit further over to the left. Okay. Right, sort yourself out. Careful. Easy does it now. Don't start waving all around, please. Well, at least the turbulence is gone. That's going to help. Oh, come on. There we go. Come on, just land for me. Let's just zoom in so we can see the localizer. There we go. It seems to have... It's starting to settle down now. So that's good. Let's see. Pitch is 4 degrees down. If I bring the throttle back ever so slightly, it's going to start pitching up to maintain that negative vertical speed, which is 440. Yeah, right. Let's bring in the nose up slightly. Not too much. Not too much. There we go. Yeah, 69, 70 knots. We want to maintain 70 knots. That's exactly where we want to be. Let's just have a look outside. Perfect. It took us a while, but we're finally kind of in the right position. That's it, just baby touches on that throttle. Don't need to touch that throttle hardly at all to make the changes, the small changes we need so that it can just nudge itself into the right place. I'm trying to kind of caress that attitude indicator so that it's not pointing the nose down, but at the same time we're coming down at the right speed. Okay. So yeah, to begin with it was a bit difficult getting ourselves where we needed to be, but just recheck QNH. Yeah, there's 1,000. That's correct. Okay, from here on I'm going to pull the autopilot and fly this one manually from here on in, because I have I've got visual on the runway. So at this point, and the beauty of this now is that this is fully stabilized, and all I have to do is just do a crosswind landing. That's basically all there is left to do. So thank you very much, folks, for joining. This has not been an easy video to make, to be honest, with my difficulties at Torp, the frame rate problems I was having at Torp with the amount of cloud cover there was there and rain, and the fact that Torp is just a laggy airport to begin with. It's a bit like Heathrow for me. I don't exactly know why, but yeah. But my P3D performance is quite good, computer performance. So coming down now, let's just bring up my reminders. So I want to be hitting 60 to 70 knots. So I'm going to pull the throttle, and you can see I'm bleeding off that speed. We've got 10 knot crosswind now, or 10 knot headwind. Let's just readjust my trim for that speed change. Coming down. Maybe that's a little bit too slow. Okay, I came in a bit too high there, but we've got a lot of runway we can play with, so Okay, now I'm going to feed in a little bit of rudder, and at the same time bring my ailerons, put us in a slight left bank so that we can skew ourselves into the right heading, but still maintain the center line without being blown off. So just pulling the throttle now. Coming down. There we go. And there's not much to it. I think that was a pretty solid landing on my part. So folks, welcome to Bergen. And thanks to the Flight1 Garmin GTN 750. That helped us immensely in changing stars at the last moment, and the great thing about that is that I didn't have to. It was actually easier than it's more intuitive and easy doing it this way than doing it with a 737, because you've not got any FMC or any of that kind of jargon that you have to, go through different pages of stuff. It's just all in one massive little touchscreen package. Let's just turn right here. And we'll park over on the right hand side somewhere here. Let's just go to the outside again. Not that we need any aircraft maintenance and repairs, but we're going to park here. So folks, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this kind of introduction to what it's like in the 172 to use the GTN. I will say it is a bit slow in that the aircraft, it only flies at a cruise of 110 knots, so it will take time to get from A to B. But this update from A2A is giving you a GPS package which is just so much better than any default kind of FSX GPS package that you could ever have. And so the IFR capabilities of the 172 from A2A is now on par with the 182's capabilities, as well as any other aircraft that has the Flight1 GTN 750 implementation. Of course, having said that, you can actually use the Flight1 GTN 750 with any aircraft in FSX or Prepared 3D. It's just not in a 3D form here in the cockpit. It's only as a 2D panel, which is perfectly fine. I mean, I use the 2D panel when I want to see things more clearer. I just pop that out, and it's great, But only select aircraft actually have it modeled 3D in the cockpit. And it's great in that sense as well, because you can actually touch the touchscreen in the 3D cockpit as you've been watching. So only certain aircraft have that modeled in them, and of course A2A are just one of the few companies that have taken that step to make sure that we've got the best that we can have. So thank you very much A2A, and thank you very much everyone for watching. And I'm actually going to hang my hat up for a bit, go make another cup of tea, because this was one hard video to create, even though we didn't have VATSIM to worry about. I mean, that would have just made it even more difficult. I think the weather was quite challenging. Let's try not to do weather like that again. But anyway, I'm going to sign off now, and the next video you should see from me, folks, is a Cherokee video using the Flight1 Garmin GTN 750 in IFR, and I'm hoping to do the Cherokee video on VATSIM since this one was not. And I'm going to try and do it in a sunny, cloudless place in the world where you're still flying IFR, but you could fly VFR the entire way. But anyway, thanks very much, folks, and I'll catch you next time.